Good afternoon and welcome to your final bulletin with Solent Sports News. I'm Thomas D.
And I'm Callum Byrne. Big news coming out of Wembley with a star player being ruled out of this weekend's clash with Manchester United, and news from the weigh-in of Anthony Joshua's title defence.
To rugby first though, where England got their Rugby League World Cup campaign underway with a loss to current world champions Australia. It was a valiant effort, but England suffered an 18-4 defeat. Victory is the only option in their next game as they take on the lowest ranked team in the competition, Lebanon.
News on Anthony Joshua now as the Brit has had his way in with Carlos Takam.
The two men are set to glove up for tomorrow's bout in Cardiff, where Joshua will defend his IBF, IBO and WBA belts against the French Cameroonian. Joshua was originally set to take on Kubrat Pulev, but the Bulgarian pulled out with a shoulder injury. Here's what Joshua had to say about his new challenger.
So I've been fighting guys that are a lot taller than me. I've been preparing for a 6 foot something guy, and now I'm fighting this mini Mike Tyson, Ray Mercer, Tommy Morrison, boom, hooking. So I'm going to have to kind of revert back to some different training techniques.
This weekend, Lewis Hamilton could become the 5th driver in the sport's history to win 4 Formula One World Championships. The Mercedes driver leads the title race by 66 points, meaning a 5th place finish in Mexico this weekend would guarantee his 4th title since entering the sport in 2007. However, the British driver is expecting a tough challenge at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
I want to be on top of the podium. You want to be up there from you know, as a racing driver, you constantly want to show your performance and your strength, and you never want that to waver. So that's my goal this weekend. It's going to be difficult, I think a lot closer between Red Bull and Ferrari and us, but I love that.
In golf, world number 1 Dustin Johnson leads the World Golf Championships event in Shanghai after shooting 9 under par on day 2. The American had a putter especially made for his second day, and it proved vital as his second round of 63 took him above fellow American Brooks Koepka onto 13 under. England's Justin Rose is in 3rd, 4 shots off the lead after a second round of 68 at Sheshan International.
The England cricket captain Joe Root has distanced himself from David Warner's comments that England should prepare for war ahead of the Ashes next month. Warner claimed on Monday that he would use his hatred for the opposition as motivation for his Australia side. Here's what Root had to say on the matter.
It's a competitive sport. Everyone, goes out there, they're desperate to do it and desperate to win. But I would never, refer to it as war. I think that's a bit extreme.
This morning, Spurs announced that Harry Kane will miss Tottenham's hotly anticipated clash against Manchester United on Saturday lunchtime. The 24-year-old won't feature at Old Trafford after suffering a hamstring strain last weekend against Liverpool. Philippe Coutinho will also miss Liverpool's game this weekend against Huddersfield.
2 former Southampton managers have been in the news this week as the Premier League managerial merry-go-round keeps on spinning.
After being sacked by Saints back in June, Claude Puel returns to the Premier League, taking over former champions Leicester City, whereas Dutchman Ronald Koeman was sacked from Everton on Monday, but we'll have a little bit more on that later.
Elise Christie has been crowned the Sunday Times Sportswoman of the Year. The speed skater became a triple world champion back in March to pick up the trophy at last night's awards ceremony. She beat tennis player Joanna Konta, martial artist Bianca Walkden, and who finished 2nd and 3rd respectively.
Also at the ceremony, former England defender Alex Scott is to retire at the end of the season to focus on her career in broadcasting. The Arsenal women's defender won 9 league trophies and 7 women's FA Cups during 3 spells at the club, while winning 150 caps for England.
And now a look at the packages made by our reporters, including someone who could possibly be the next Mo Farah.
But first, it's a look into local club QK Southampton, who are preparing for a big game against Southampton under-23s in the Senior Cup in the coming weeks. Gurpreet Singh has more.
QK Southampton have progressed to the 3rd round of the Senior Cup. Their opponents, Southampton. The Saints return to the Senior Cup for its centenary season, and QK will be looking to cause an upset. Although the game is still 3 weeks away, QK manager Mark Sainsbury has already begun preparation.
I think what you'll see in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be doing a lot more shape play without the ball because we're predominantly a very attacking team. But we know we're going to have to pay Southampton the utmost respect and maybe make us very hard to break down. So the whole ethos for the next 3 weeks will be short, sharp football.
The game that will take place at Southampton's very own Staplewood comes as a dream come true for young players. But captain Matt Hayes isn't fazed by this.
Well, to be honest, I've played at St Mary's already once before in the Southampton, this actual cup final, and I enjoyed every moment of that. It was the best feeling of my footballing career.
Hayes is in his 3rd year at the club, and as a senior player he has overseen the growth within the team and predicts big things for QK Southampton.
It's grown massively. When I joined this club it was in the relegation zone, and the last couple of years we've gradually moved up the league. This is the best squad that I've seen since I've been here, technically and obviously mentally as well, so it is proven massive. That's mainly down to the manager.
So how did QK set up this glamour tie? Well, it wasn't easy. They managed a hard-fought 2-0 victory over local rivals Bush Hill, both goals coming in the last 10 minutes of the game. Their second-round hero Callum Drake, who scored both goals, isn't intimidated by the calibre of Southampton and approaches every game the same.
Just work hard in training, just keep going through the games, putting hard work in, and that's all we can do really.
As the competition enters its 100th year, Mark Sainsbury believes that it is getting harder for clubs of QK's level to win the competition.
For whatever reasons, all the Wessex Prem boys are back in, so it's very hard for a team like QK to win that cup.
With the increase of talent in this cup, how will Sainsbury prepare for this fixture?
Obviously Southampton coming into it, it's a centenary year, that's why they're in. So everybody wanted that tie. We're just going to go down, treat it as our cup final. The facilities down there are absolutely outstanding, and it will give our lads, the younger lads, the opportunity to go and play on a really good pitch.
Now the competition has hit 3 figures, the level of competition will be growing, and we may see a decrease in local clubs participating and succeeding in the Senior Cup. But for now, QK Southampton will be relishing this opportunity, and 15th of November will be a dream come true. I'm Gurpreet Singh, Solen Sports News.
We wish both teams the best of luck when that tie takes place. And now Team Solent have put back-to-back wins together after a difficult start to the season, partly thanks to 6 goals in 2 games from new striker Hisham Kasimu.
Things are starting to kick off at Test Park, but not how you'd think. After a slow start to the season left them bottom of the table, Team Solent coach Kevin Braybrook has seen his side take 7 points from the last 9 to slingshot themselves up the table. A 3-1 win at Amesbury Town last week followed a 7-0 demolition job of Brockenhurst, and now the Sparks look to be finding their feet this year.
We're used to a little bit of that difficult initial challenges, and we, as a member of staff, I think we were kind of grounded and we kind of kept the players positive and kept them kind of reassured of what we were trying to do. You know, the players turned up with no pre-season either, so it was always a difficult kind of opportunity to try and gauge their fitness levels and get some game time quickly into them. So it was a challenge, but I think at the same time we're aware of the situation, and I think the players responded and have been very, very positive.
Managing a football team is challenging enough at the best of times, but when the squad is ripped apart and unsettled year after year, you'd think it would get disheartening. But not for Braybrook. The unique opportunity of managing a university team has presented him with a flood of new challenges.
Our club is different to many clubs, and I think we're aware of what situation we're in. And I think from our point of view as staff and as a university, we stay positive because it is a transition time. And we're waiting for new students to arrive, we're waiting for students to arrive and get in the halls. And there was lots of opportunities to kind of play some of the youth team players who did fantastically well. But now we're confident that our squads are back. And we've got healthy looking squads, and we think we've got a good chance of winning more games of football.
Captain and versatile defender Curtis Thorne echoed the sentiments of his coach and added that commitment has been key.
It wasn't the best start due to students being in and out of Southampton, but the system's been always professional. We always try and stay together professionally, so we just stayed on top of it really. Our manager's really keen on us, trying to get us here, trying to train all the time and just staying fit. So if we do our little bit outside of the environment, all of us will be fine, I'm sure.
Despite the difficulties of an ever-changing squad, sometimes it gives players a chance to make a name for themselves. New boy Hisham Kasimu has spearheaded the recent resurgence with 6 goals in the last 2 games and has his sights set high for both himself and the squad.
I mean, it felt good because I'm new as well, first year, so it was hard to. I started slow in the team, and it feels good to like be scoring goals now. It was our last defeat. We had like a little, it's not a meeting, but we had a chat after the game, how we should start working hard in training, and from there we got the results, and now just don't want to look back and keep going, really keep working hard.
This Saturday, Team Solent will be hoping the run continues against Hamworthy United. I've been Angus Mullen, reporting for Solent Sport News.
Sunday's Great South Run saw Southampton's Mohamed exceed expectations in one of the most popular 10-mile races in the world. Matt Dale went down to his local club to see what all the fuss is about.
The winter training sessions are fully underway at Southampton Athletics Club, but there's one particular individual that stands out from the rest. Mohamed put in an outstanding performance at this Sunday's Great South Run, finishing 6th place in a stacked lineup, which was a vast improvement on his 2016 feat.
Wow, the race went really good. Like, I was planning to finish just top 10, but as a result last year I finished 15th, so give me, like, that was amazing to finish 6th position.
At only 20 years old, he's already competing with the very best over the 10-mile distance, one of them being with former European medalist and eventual winner Chris Thompson, something that is still sinking in for Mohamed.
Wow, running with them is like, it's amazing. It's like something that I'm proud of, something that like I never expected to run with them. Like, they are all, I know they are running more far before, so like they're inspiring people. They are like all motivation. So to be in that front group is something amazing.
But this isn't anything out of the ordinary. In early 2017, it was a case of one Mo to another, where he competed at the Great Edinburgh cross-country event with none other than Mo Farah, sporting the Great Britain jersey, and he has nothing but praise for the Olympic champion.
He's to me really much like, you know, he helped me with everything like I needed.
And just like Sir Mo, he had a similar path during childhood, moving to Britain at a young age for a better quality of life.
I'm from Ethiopia basically, and I arrived to UK 2010, and then I started school like at the end of November, and then I started running at 2012 after the Olympic Games.
And he's just as humble as many of the world's top long-distance runners, owing his career to trainer Peter Haynes, which he says is so much more than just a player-coach relationship.
He's like more than my father to me. He's been like so close to me. We had a big relationship with him. Yeah. For example, if I'm racing, let's say Newcastle, he will take me up there. So as I don't have a car, so he's to me, he's like my father basically.
It's a very promising start for Mo in the early stages of his career, and wherever we do see him next, it's very likely he'll be one of the front runners across that finish line first. Matthew Dale for Solen Sports News.
We'll watch the career of Mohamed with great interest. And lastly, something to give you a bit of a giggle on a Friday afternoon. We're sure a lot of Southampton fans have been having a good time at the expense of former boss Ronald Koeman after his departure from Everton this week.
So we sent our reporters into the city to ask locals their thoughts on the former boss.
Southampton City is known for its maritime history. For example, the Titanic, which left Southampton but never made it back. So what does that mean? Things or people that leave Southampton don't do very well? Well, this leads me to Ronald Koeman, who was earlier this week sacked by Everton. Now, we are in the town of Southampton, so I wanted to know, what do the people think about this?
People come to Southampton, to the football club at Southampton, players and managers, and they see it as a stepping stone, because everybody knows that the youth programme at Southampton is absolutely fantastic. You can't beat it.
Once you spent 150 million on 48 number 10s, then, you know, you can't expect much different than players playing out of position and not playing well.
Had the easiest starts, like, so I finished the game until at least after Christmas, and then see after that what happens.
I think you made a big mistake moving, or you should have stayed there a couple of more years, you know, get that experience, and then you should have moved on. But I think you made a big mistake. Yeah.
Well, the grass is never greener on the other side, is it? You should have stayed.
And that's all we have time for now. Please make sure to follow our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at Solent Sports News, and keep your eyes peeled throughout the week for any updates.
We'll be back next week with a wide array of stories, but until then, have a fantastic weekend, and it's goodbye from us.